My name is Engineer Michael Ngala. I am the Deputy Director in charge of Axle Road Control, dealing with way bridges at Kenya National Highways Authority. We have gathered here today to sensitize the HOMA Bay County Law Courts and also the prosecution councils from HOMA Bay. As KeNHA, we are in charge of the major trunk roads, and some of which are traversing HOMA Bay County. Our big challenge is on control of overloading. And when we impound vehicles which are overloaded, we are going to process them through the courts. And of course, the work is aided by enforcement. We have the police officers seconded to KeNHA. And as we are here, we have the judiciary represented by the judge and also the chief magistrate. And we also have the county police commander and the SSP in charge of law and management contractors who help us to operate our weighbridge stations. So whenever we detect overloaded vehicles which are actually harmful to our road network, under the Traffic Act we present them to court through the DPP, and therefore we expect that courts met appropriate sentences that actually deter them. As we are here, our big part on the training is to disseminate this technical information and also the legal framework so that the judiciary and the police and the DPP are in a position to understand what it means and also the impact that overloaded vehicles cause to the highways. And we have also, through the training, appealed to the courts to apply deterrent sentences because overloading is punishable by payment of overload fines as scheduled. So we are urging them to follow the schedule which is indicated in the Act. But also we are informing the courts that apart from the Traffic Act, which criminalizes overloading, there is also the EAC Act, which does not criminalize overloading. And therefore, the courts are able to differentiate which act is applicable at a given point. When we take our matters to court, then that is under the Traffic Act. But even so, under the EAC Act, we also take matters not related to overloading, but this is now about the dimensions. When vehicles exceed dimensions appropriate to be on the road, there are conditions that we allow them through permits to observe. If a vehicle has got a wide load, they're supposed to move in daylight between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. And of course, when they also exceed the heights, they sometimes knock off our bridge infrastructure. And this causes a compromise on the structural integrity of those bridges. Therefore, we are actually appealing the courts to also view those offenses to be seriously and therefore met the right sentences that actually deter, so that we also keep people safe on the roads. The road does not suffer damage through overloading, but also people moving on the roads are also safe. So that's actually our mission, to ensure that the roads are actually adequate, safe, and easy to navigate as we carry out our business. So that's the main gist of our training here today, to disseminate that information to the judiciary, so that when they apply their minds to our cases, they apply it with the full information of what that means in terms of road damage, and therefore they will be able to apply the right sentences to those people who are caught in violation. Yes.
After HOMA Bay, are you moving to another place in the parts of the country?
Yes, we have actually consolidated the HOMA Bay County, and we'll be moving also to Western. We'll be having the team from Western, and we are looking at engaging the judiciary and also the DPP. All right? We have carried out some training before, but you know, there's also officers keep moving and changing from one station to another. Therefore, we have to keep this as a continuous process to engage them until we cover the entire country. We have engaged people in Mombasa, we have engaged people in Nairobi, and we continue. Because even the transporters, they also come into place every day. We also have sessions for the transporters so that they're actually aware that they're supposed to self-regulate and comply. We also, as we sensitize judiciary and the DPP, we also sensitize the transporters and the general public.
My name is Godfrey Walala, the Managing Director for Gokan Technical Services. Gokan Technical Services is the company contracted by KeNHA to manage the Busia cluster, which entails Busia, Awendo, and Rongo Way bridges. I would just like to thank KeNHA so much for taking this initiative, because our work involves a lot of issues, logistics. It requires this kind of support, and by training the people who are involved, the stakeholders who are involved in this, they make our work easier and more effective on the ground. I think we need more of this as we go across, and I think it will be helpful to us.
I am Nancy Cherop. Nancy is a senior superintendent of police, the officer in charge of actual law enforcement and highway units. In the spirit of collective responsibility, we have different roles, and as a family of a criminal justice system, we need to understand where we operate so that we all ride on the same boat. Our cases in Weybridge are unique. We deal with two aspects, that's concerns weight and dimension. The operations of Weybridge are unique because we have different stakeholders. It's not the police alone. We have the management contractor, we have the KeNHA, and we all have different roles. So it's important so that each and every one of us understands their point of operations.
I am Dr. Fred Nyagaka, the Environment and Land Court Judge in charge of Homa Bay and Migori. We are happy to be here with the Chief Magistrate, and of course with the blessing of the presiding judge, Olga Sewe, who is unwell, and also of the blessing of the Chief Justice as we continue to enhance her judiciary imprint of the of STAGE. That means social transformation to access to justice. One of the important takeaways from this training so far, of which we are continuing with, which we have had since morning, is the lots of information that is out here, which we, I would confess, did not have, and which at times we, many of us take for granted. For instance, we have learned about how the weighing of vehicles and even the storage of the evidence about the suspected crimes or offenses is received and processed and finally brought to court, and which we appreciate, and we would really love that if these trainings were given to the entire judiciary, yes, it would help each and every one of the judicial officers and even judges who handle these matters to comprehend. Actually, I would propose to KeNHA, as we thank you at least for this training, for Homa Bay County, we are promising that we will implement, of course, the law as it is. We are an independent and impartial arm of government as we receive this evidence. But as we have given a bit of the feedback this morning, it is that when this information or this, which we finally call evidence, when it gets to us, when it is received, let it be processed in real time, let it be processed as fast as possible so that when those suspects are brought to court, we don't have the lack of evidence. Many of these offenders actually go scot-free for reason that not enough evidence is brought. So the judiciary may appear to be, I would say, less, less serious in enforcement, but the problem that comes up is lack of evidence. That is number one. Then the other one is lack of information. I would say, for instance, as we are learning about this information we have received this morning, a number of us, not necessarily judicial officers, but even the ODPP, they have confessed that there are some laws that they did not, or they were not aware of. And so if this could be disseminated to the entire judiciary, so that we get it from the users and also the real stakeholders, how they implement their mandate and then process this information for final determination before the judiciary, we would be happy. So one of the suggestions I would give, which I think may help us to sensitize the entire nation at once, is for KeNHA to liaise with us to give them particularly the dates when we meet as judicial officers and judges, and these are known as colloquium days. For instance, in March, we had the magistrates colloquium in the entire country. And these are actually the ones who process this information, because many of these offenses are reported, they are filed in their courts at that level before they are processed to the to the high courts for appeal purposes. So if KeNHA would take advantage of those meetings when we have all the magistrates in the country meeting at once and carry them through such a process as the one we are having today, I am sure that this information would trickle countrywide once. And then we will be able to appreciate what it is. Now, in regard to the way in which offenses sentences follow the offenses, I would want to propose that if KeNHA and even the other stakeholders are of the view once a while that an offense that has been found to have been committed has received less sentence than it ought to be, yes, it is important that it be appealed so that it is reviewed, because any offender who damages our roads actually endangers the entire country, because we all move on these roads, our families move there, the entire country moves, and it depends on compliance. Without it, we endanger ourselves, and we also actually do not leave sustainability